When I, 36 male, was in college, I dated Margot. She transferred to a different university in our sophomore year, causing our breakup. It was amicable, but given our different paths, we lost touch. I've been married to my wife, Kathy, for 10 years. We have 3 children, a tween boy, a pre-tween girl, and a toddler girl. Last year, I got a friend request on Facebook for Margot. Shortly after accepting, she messaged me and asked if we could talk on the phone. I found it weird, but something told me to do it. So I called her and she told me she had a teen daughter, Paige. I was in shock and almost didn't believe her at first. She begged me to at least get a DNA test. After speaking with Kathy, I agreed. It turned out it's true. I have a teen daughter who's lived just an hour from me her entire life. Margot says she didn't tell me as she thought she could be a mother alone. But now Paige was older and wanted to know me. I agreed to start a relationship with her. At first, things went pretty well. We did a lot of stuff one-on-one as well as some things with my wife and other children. Initially, Paige wanted to spend a lot of time with just us, which made sense as we had much catching up to do. I see Paige at least once a week. She usually comes down to stay with us every other weekend, and I'll go up to see her on the weeks in between. Just me, not the rest of the family. While I love my time with Paige, I also must balance time with my other kids, something she doesn't seem to understand. I'll invite Paige to join family things and she'll turn it down. Or she'll find out that I'm doing something with one of the other kids and wants to come along, or ask me to cancel the plans to spend time with her. The biggest incident came this past weekend. My son had a basketball game. Paige asked if I could come hang out with her. I explained why I couldn't, but said she was more than welcome. She got irritated and said no. I offered to come up the following day. She asked why I couldn't just blow off the basketball game. I told her that it was important to her brother. She said I had more time with them, and they could do without me for a few years. I told her that was not going to happen. I said I loved her. I want to spend time with her, but I also have other kids to consider. She's always welcome to join our activities that aren't special one-on-one days, and I'll always make sure I spend one-on-one time. She said she never asked for little siblings, and while I sympathized, I said they exist, and I have to balance everyone. I said if she doesn't want to hang out with the other kids and my wife, that's fine, but expecting me to blow them off isn't reasonable. Now she's very upset with me. I've offered therapy. She refuses. I've asked if there's anything my wife or other kids did. She says no. She just doesn't want to share me. She still claims that I should put her above her siblings. I can't do that. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She never asked for siblings, but you never asked to have a daughter hidden from you for so many years, though that's not her fault but her mother's. You've shown a lot of care and compassion, but you're correct that you have to balance everyone. You were correct to tell her that you aren't going to dump your family for her, and I agree with you that she could use some therapy. I agree OP's not the idiot here, but I don't think the daughter is either. She's a victim too. There is one idiot and villain in this story, Margot. I actually don't understand how, as a society, we even normalize hiding a child from a father to the point where it's even considered an option for a woman, in any case, other than those that involve fleeing domestic dangers. At the very least, Margot should be a social pariah for what she's done, and a part of me even thinks this should be a felony crime. Given the few details here, I think it's unfair to make such assumptions about Margot. OP, I think it's time you communicate more with Margot on effectively managing a newly blended family and establishing boundaries. Well, Margot told him she didn't tell him because she thought she could do it without him, which means she chose to hide it from him. And apparently she didn't tell her daughter that, did she? More importantly, why was Margot so happy to let OP back in after 16 years? I have to wonder if Margot told OP now because college is coming up in a few years and she wants him to pay for it. I don't think Margot's telling the whole story. Until Margot fesses up, no one will know. Either way, the daughter needs help and is told the truth by her mother. I've worked at a small local business for almost 12 years now. We have about 8 employees and are currently short-staffed. About 3 weeks ago, they hired a woman in her 50s who we'll call Karen. Karen, in the beginning, was very appreciative of being hired, as her husband is out of work following a car wreck, and their home is in the process of foreclosure. She stated that she'd been searching for employment for months, but no one would hire her because she had zero employment history. She was a stay-at-home wife, no kids. In the beginning, Karen and I got along well enough, but stuff hit the fan last week. She stated she has 5 dogs, and I commented that I don't like dogs and could never have one as a pet. I liked other people's dogs well enough, but could never have my own. She took it as a personal attack, apparently. She turned around in her chair and avoided me for the rest of the shift. That night, my phone starts blowing up with Facebook notifications from her. I don't have her as a friend on there. She was going through and laughing, reacting at every single photo of my children that was posted as public, tagged photos. If that weren't bad enough, she then comments underneath a photo of my youngest, infant, "Ew, you don't like dogs, but you like these ugly things?" And another comment not even 30 seconds later on a photo of my son and daughter, saying, "Gross." I screenshot everything and then blocked her. The next day, I went to my boss and handed over my phone, with all the screenshots pulled up. I tell him, "Either you fire her right now, or I'm gone. I refuse to be in the same workplace as this witch." Well, Karen just happened to walk into his office while I was in there, and he immediately told her to collect the items from her desk and leave. She asked why, and he pointed to the screenshots on my phone and said, "This is why." She started scolding me, of course, because I got her fired when she desperately needed the money because they would lose their home and no one else would hire her. And she can't believe I'm being so sensitive, and that she just wanted me to feel how she felt when I threw in her face that I don't like dogs. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She harassed you. Taking shots at your kids is beyond unacceptable. Karen is now the newest member of the Screw Around and Find Out Club. Maybe she'll learn from this, but I doubt it. It is pretty disturbing that she took something said that made her angry at work, and she actually went on the internet to find this person and cause problems in their private life. It's messed up, and it's also creepy. Boss is lucky that they had a very easy, quick, and legal way to get her to go immediately. He even has the printouts. I can only imagine how it went when she went home and had to tell her husband why she was fired from her new job. You know she lied to her husband. I'm betting that the story was along the lines of, "I got fired because my coworker doesn't like dogs." Honestly, I suspect that someone surprised that harassment will get her fired is the kind of person that's hard to hire. I doubt her lack of employment history had much to do with her financial woes. That's what I was thinking as well. A woman in her 50s who has no employment history, yet has no kids? That's suspect at best. She doesn't play well with others. Plus, she's clearly not right in the head for stalking somebody because they don't want to have a dog. Singling out OP's children is particularly disturbing. It would not surprise me if Karen couldn't have children, is therefore envious of OP, and took OP's comments about dogs as an insult to her fur babies. Cringe. I wouldn't want to be around an obsessive nut job like that, let alone work with one. I, 53 male, love to cook. There will be days when I slave away in the kitchen all day to make a big meal, and I'll do it happily. My wife, 50, can't cook when I'm not around, but honestly, I can't think of any time when she's made anything, because I always want to do it, and that's fine by me, as long as I feel appreciated for it. I have a 24-year-old son, Eric. My wife has a daughter, 19, Liz, from previous marriages, and we have a teen son, David. Eric lives with us for now to save money while he works, but he still pays rent. He'll eat anything, with the exception of hating blue cheese. David likes pretty much everything but is allergic to eggs. I can work around these constraints pretty easily when I cook. Liz is a different story. She's always been picky with the food she dislikes, but it's gotten way worse. She went to college for a semester and then dropped out, so now she's living at home. And while she was away, she developed some terrible pickiness. She's had stints of being a vegan, vegetarian, grain-free, pasta-free, oil-free, etc., but isn't consistent about it. I try to help meet her needs, but on any given day, she has something new to complain about with the food that I want to cook. Sometimes she and I would debate for hours about what to make, with me basically saying, "Tell me what you want for dinner that will work for you, and I'll cook it, so long as it meets the other kids' restrictions." And she's so unhelpful with this. 2 nights ago, I cooked a dish Liz told me looked good in a book. We all sat down for dinner, and everyone loved it except Liz. She complained that she didn't realize there were peanuts in the recipe, which are so unhealthy for us, so she doesn't think she can eat it. Could I make her something else? I was fed up and told her, "No, you can eat this, or you'll eat nothing. I'm done having to deal with your pickiness and criticism of my cooking. I will no longer be taking any of your feedback on what you want for dinner and cooking what everybody else wants. You can either eat that or cook yourself something else." She started crying and said that I'd take the other kids' restrictions on what to eat, so why can't I do the same for her? I reminded her that Eric only dislikes a single thing, that I don't care for either, so there's no risk of it popping into a dish. And if David has eggs, he'll probably die, so it's not the same as her vetoing every single thing I want to make. My wife took her side and said that I was being too sensitive and mean because Liz is not my real daughter and I'm showing favoritism. This is BS, by the way. I told my wife that she can cook Liz's meals if she wants, as if, but I'm not going out of my way to meet her needs. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, because dietary restrictions are not the same as preferences. Eric couldn't eat certain foods, and Liz wouldn't. You cook something of her choice, and her response was, "I changed my mind. I don't like it. Cook me something else." Not even a thank you. Liz is an idiot for being entitled. Your wife is an idiot for enabling this behavior and throwing the favoritism card. 1000% this. I got halfway through reading this story, and I was like, what a brat. She could cook her own meals if she's going to act like this. And Mom took her side? Nope. What really gets me is that they have a teen child together. OP and her wife have clearly been together since Liz was a toddler. And it follows the logic that OP has been in a fatherly role to Liz for most of her life. Mom doesn't get to pull this BS. Liz is a spoiled child. The rest of the family should not have to eat around her ever-changing whims. I'm 39 and male. My wife is 36. We have 2 sons, a kindergartner and a toddler. 2 years ago, my wife approached me one day and told me she was interested in making money off Instagram. I thought it was a fine idea, as she was home during the day and couldn't work because our younger son was still too small. Fortunately, I make enough money to support our lifestyle comfortably, and I encouraged her to go for it. Unfortunately, in the past 2 years, as a hopeful Instagram influencer, she's not made a single cent. Her earlier attempts at gaining followers were for postpartum fitness, and since she knows nothing about fitness, that went nowhere. She tried to make exercise guides where she would do these bizarre mobility movements, and these would only get a few views. She moved on to doing makeup tutorials, which similarly fell flat, likely because there are a billion such channels out there. Then she jumped onto this slice of life train, where she would make videos talking about her day. But to be frank, they were all pretty boring, and she failed to attract any attention. The issue isn't that she's trying. The problem is that she spends most of her waking hours on Instagram and skirts her household responsibilities. I wake up at 5 a.m., go for a run, come home, make breakfast for everyone, then make lunch for our older child and myself, and take him to kindergarten. I go to work until about 5 p.m., get home around 5:30, make dinner for everyone, wash most of the dishes, tidy up, bathe our sons, play with them, and go to bed. She wakes up at 7:45, usually later because she was up late on Instagram, and lies down on the sofa as I do everything. While I'm at work, she works on her Instagram more. Any attempt to get her to do something is met with complaining. The other day, I finally got fed up with her because I walked in the door to a complete disaster zone, full of things strewn everywhere, the laundry not done, and a sink full of dirty dishes. I asked what she had done all day, to which she responded she was busy. I snapped at her and told her that the Instagram was going nowhere, that I'd put up with it for 2 years longer than I should have, and that she would be infinitely more useful cooking and cleaning. She got this horrified look on her face and walked away. She went into the bedroom, naturally looking at her phone, and left me to deal with everything that night. Am I the idiot for how I reacted to her? Not the idiot. There's a reason that these things are usually side hustles until they go big. It's hard to make it. Having no job, bringing in no income, and contributing nothing to the household is not a realistic way to be a good partner. Could you have worded it better or been more tactful? Sure, but I get how you would just kind of snap in the moment. A side hustle might be selling something on Etsy or similar. That would be a side hustle because even if it doesn't go big, it's still small in terms of returns, maybe a few hundred a year. This isn't a side hustle. It's a distraction and a waste of time. I'm amazed OP put up with it this long. OP, tell her to switch her content to cleaning tips. She thought being an influencer would be easy, but she was wrong. Whatever it takes to be an influencer, she isn't a good fit. Be very careful she doesn't try turning her hand in video camera to mommy blogging, because that can quickly turn exploitive, and she's looking for social media validation. My girlfriend, 25, and I, 27 male, were together for about 9 months. I thought things were going great until about a month ago, when, out of the blue, she told me we needed to break up. I was super confused and asked why she said that. She told me that I wasn't attentive enough, and that she deserved better. I was confused, angry, and hurt all at the same time. I thought I was paying her the right amount of attention, but obviously she didn't think so. I would have fought for our relationship and paid more attention, but when she said she could do better, that riled me up. I cut all contact with her. I'm talking about unfollowing and blocking her on all accounts, deleting her contact information from all of my devices, and deleting our text. It was to the point that even if I wanted to contact her, I couldn't unless I drove to her place. I spent the month in pain, and I'll admit it, I cried a few times. Her words that she could do better haunted me. Last night there was a knock at my door, and when I opened it, there she was. She tried asking me how I was doing, but I cut her off and asked her what she wanted. She said I failed her test and was expecting me to pay more attention to her, not go no contact. She also said I needed to do better, since she's taking me back. I closed the door in her face, and she spent the next 10 minutes begging me to talk. She and her friends texted me the entire night, saying that it's normal for women to test their men, and that I'm overreacting. They say that they usually start with small tests, but my ex jumped the gun and went for the big test because she saw us together for a long time and wanted to ensure I was the one. I never answered any of them and blocked every number that texted me. Am I overreacting? She's only the second serious girlfriend I've had. Congratulations. You passed the test. You dodged the bullet. You are not the idiot. It's not normal to test your boyfriend. Sane women won't do that. What she did was incredibly immature, manipulative, toxic, and if we can be honest, stupid. Cut off contact. If she does get her claws into you, tell her your primary relationship is with yourself, and you can't disrespect yourself by allowing her back into your life. Oh, she wanted another guy, but it didn't work out. Now she's back. It's as simple as that. Because if this was a test, she waited a whole month to come tell you? No, sir. She tried to get another dude, but that didn't pan out. Do not believe the manipulation. Block her and her friends, and get the revenge of living your life well.